inside edge of the bone here. And it's, imagine that the feeling you're looking for is a bit like a young sapling would. So just squeezing up till you're about 2/3 of the way up. So squeeze this sort of like a young tree growth 2/3 of the way up your leg. And then you come out a little bit in the calf muscle. Now I'm showing you in a bit of detail, really. The same kind of detail we would do in college, actually. But you'll find that it's a little bit more specific, because when we get at this level, at the calf muscle, up to the knee, you'll find that this bit of bone, which is still part of the lower leg, in that line is where we get to the point of the week, liver 8. And Kat, if you could bring up the slide, please. I believe we've got a lovely image.
It's right at the end.
It's right at the end, so we'll just flick through the slides until we get to, here we go, liver 8, named Chuchuan, Crooked Spring, also known as Spring at the Bend or Crooked Stream. Now we'll come back to that name in a second, but let's just get a hang of where this is, because some people find it tricky. Now, by feeling alone, we can often get it because it's quite tender and sore for a lot of people. But when you bend your leg, you'll notice that there's a knee crease here. So I'll come a little bit closer. You'll see that there's a knee crease here called the popliteal crease. And at the end of that crease, you'll be able to feel a bit of the bone of the leg, of the lower leg. So basically a bit of substance behind it. Now, if you open out your leg a little bit and you really kind of press around, you'll feel that it's sort of like you've got a couple of tendons, very fine, some of them, but it can be quite sore, so don't press too hard. The semimembranosus and semitendinosus, I believe they're called. In fact, they're written on the thing there. And that, essentially, between those two tendons, at the very head of the bone there, at the end of the knee crease, that is liver 8. So when it's called crooked stream or crooked spring, it's sort of describing almost where to find it. You have this channel, the liver channel, like a stream, and then there's a bend in the stream because we bend our leg, and it helps us to find it. Also, you've got this bend here, and it's right at the edge of it. So it's being described where it is. But to call it a spring at the bend gives us an idea of the feeling of the point. There's like a volume of water there, or volume of liquid. Now, it's really important to have a think of this because, thank you very much, because this is a great point for getting into the quality of the blood. Now, all of the points, elbows or knees, have a fantastic effect on the blood, especially cooling the blood. So that's one of the main things you can think is cooling, but also nourishing. So it nourishes the blood. So you can give a squeeze here on the inside edge of your knee, thinking, nourishing the blood. And if you want to think cooling, if you've been hot and agitated, then think cooling in the lower burner. Now, to give you an idea of cooling and also clearing, then I actually worked this with a client who had cystitis. So that's something that's essentially like a hot and sort of blockage and difficulty in the lower burner. I worked this point along with some other bladder and kidney work, and it really helped to clear the cystitis. So there's an idea of a way that it can be worked and the effect. Okay, so we've got that lower leg along the bone here, comes out into the calf muscle, inside edge of the knee where the crease is, and you've got where those tendons are, our point of the week, nourishing the blood, clearing in the lower burner, and helping the tendons, easing the tendons, especially around the knee. Okay, let's do the other side. So we're coming up from the big toe, and we're just doing some squeezing in between the two bones here, up into the ankle. There's that tendon we found before, which is just above the ankle bone. And then it comes to that lovely willowy kind of feeling of a young tree growth in our leg. I always enjoy the idea of that. And we're coming up about 2/3 of the way. And then we've got the calf muscle into the knee, where we have our point of the week again. I'll just show you one more time. Knee crease, underneath the substance of the knee, so where the bone is, we've got tendons in there. If you find yourself going underneath the knee, rather than on the side of the knee, underneath the knee, there's less sort of solid substance, and you'll find that you're into a kidney point. So we're on the side of the knee here. It feels very different when you get into it. For me, it's very sharp and sore. Clearly, a sign I have a bit of obstruction and I need to work it. Okay, you can give that a bit of a stroke. A little bit of a tap. Okay, we're ready. We can